Story 1. In the United States, freeze your credit. This prevents people from accessing it unless they have an existing business relationship with you. So say goodbye to pre-approved credit card spam. Identity theft is much more difficult as they would need your password to access the account where the freeze is controlled, rather than just using your social security number. You can still check your own credit with a freeze applied. Both the Fair Isaac Corporation scores many banks and cards offer and the free reports you're entitled to yearly. This is free. Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. There's very little reason to pay for credit locks. The only advantage is that their application is usually instant, both locking and unlocking, but they come with fees. Seriously, almost nobody's credit needs to be accessible all the time. The freeze should be the default. Unfreeze it if you are about to make a major purchase or apply for a credit card. Give it a few days or even 15 minutes in my experience to unfreeze rather than paying for a service to make it instant. Story 2. Stop sharing your location all the time. Snap maps, Instagram stories, whatever. Sometimes we overshare where we are. Not everyone needs to always know your exact location. People can get really creepy really fast. Story 3. Lock the car door as soon as you are in the car. Lock the car when you are filling up with gas. Do not leave valuables in the car overnight. Lock the car. Story 4. If someone calls you claiming to be your bank or creditor or anyone else, hang up and call them back at a number you have independently verified. It does not matter if you recognize the caller ID. That can be spoofed. It does not matter if they seem to know what they're talking about. That is what data leaks do. If you receive a letter about a debt or other sensitive matter, such as your electric bill, do not call the number on it without independently verifying it first. I have actually received fake water bills. Do not redirect payments based on emails. In fact, it is best not to direct them at all based on an email. Scammers will interject themselves into real estate transactions, contract negotiations, and so on. They will use an email that looks similar to the one you have already been in contact with or gain access to the real one. If possible, discuss changes in person or on the phone at a verified contact number. Story 5. One security measure we often don't take seriously enough is regularly updating our software and systems. It's easy to put off those prompts to update your operating system or applications, but leaving them outdated can leave you wide open to security threats. A lot of the time, we just get busy and forget about them, but keeping everything up to date is one of the easiest ways to protect yourself online. Story 6. Do not post photos of your children on the internet. There was a time when it was probably fine to put those family photos up on Facebook and Instagram, but that time has passed. Just direct message, email, or text those to grandparents and relatives. Story 7. Replace the screws that came with your entry door's latch plate with longer ones. I'm talking like 3 inches. That will secure the plate down into the framing itself rather than just the wood trim. It makes your door much harder to kick down if someone is intent on breaking in that way. Story 8. The Dave Ramsey crowd will hate this one, but use a credit card that has good cybersecurity and protections instead of your bank card for normal usage. If you get your bank card hacked, they have access to your money in your account, and some banks are not good about investigating and getting it back to you quickly. But there are some credit card companies that are really good about it. I had my card ID stolen about a decade ago, and they went after the people who did it, and they served several years in prison. It didn't cost me a dime since the card company cleared all the charges. Could have been a nightmare if it was my bank account. Story 9. Take your phone camera and walk through your house, recording everything. Open drawers and cabinets. Show closets. Move things around. Do this every few months. Save the video somewhere as a backup. If you ever have a house fire or are burglarized, you now have a record of everything that was in your house at that specific time. It makes processing an insurance claim much easier. Story 10. The same people who scream the government is tracking them are the same people who will install a tracking app on their phones to get a discount at a store they visit once. Story 11. Do not change your password for a site unless there has been a compromise. Requiring periodic password changes reduces the security posture. The National Institute of Standards and Technology updated their recommendations in 2017, but it seems everyone is still doing periodic password changes. Story 12. When walking to your vehicle in a parking lot, don't look at your phone. Lock your vehicle as soon as you enter it. Depending on the time of day and area, be cautious of how long you sit with your eyes glued to your phone in your car. You could go your whole life without the above ever being necessary. But there's no reason not to be careful. Your safety is worth the bit of extra attention and caution. If you have children, you might consider passing along the advice. Story 13. Whenever possible, switch your SMS two-factor authentication to an app-based authenticator or even a hardware security key. Doing so prevents some swapping identity theft schemes that allow a hacker to access your account by taking over your phone number. Story 14. Everyone in your family should have a family identification word or phrase. If someone gets an appeal for money via text, email, or phone, they ask for the family word. It's easy and will keep grandma and grandpa from sending gift cards to the police department for your bail. Story 15. Keeping pet cats from wandering unsupervised outdoors. The risk of catching diseases, getting injured, being hit by cars, or attacked by coyotes and other large animals in wild areas is just not worth it. Story 16. Stop sharing your vacation plans online. What you said. Can't wait to go to Disney for 2 weeks. We leave Monday. What the thief heard. My house will be unoccupied for large amounts of time for the next 2 weeks. Story 17. Logging into personal accounts on a work computer. If your keystrokes are monitored, Danny, the IT guy, can get passwords to your Gmail, your password manager, your bank accounts. Story 18. Be aware of your surroundings when outside. Every now and then, just take a glance behind you and to the sides. It's surprising how many people are oblivious to the world around them. Story 19. Authentication app for everything as two-factor authentication. It seems most people use SMS, which is easily exploited through SIM swapping. Once your number is ported over to a new device, it's game over. Happened to me twice. Story 20. As a former gym employee, lock your lockers, people. Seriously. And use a combination lock. It's too easy to lose a key for a lock that requires it. Thieves actively hunt for open lockers filled with stuff. They won't touch locked lockers because it's easier to target unlocked ones. Story 21. Using passphrase rather than traditionally complex passwords. You're never going to remember 5S9JJGJEKL, but you'll probably remember inevitable warming buttocks protocol. Story 22. Physically lock the garage door. Put a motion alarm on the gate. Put a physical stick barrier on your windows. Clear the bushes away from the hiding spot next to your front door. Put up a fence. Have all your packages delivered off-site. Story 23. Given the current climate here in the United States, do everything behind a virtual private network. Get one for your phone and encrypt everything you can. Use real encrypted messaging, not WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Telegram, etc. They're all unreliable. Use Signal. Story 24. Regularly updating and actually using strong, unique passwords for all your accounts is important. People either reuse the same one everywhere or make it very basic. A password manager makes this much easier, but most people do not bother. It is such a simple step but can prevent a lot of headaches. Story 25. When I go to my home country, once you have gone through baggage claim and you are about to leave the airport, there are people there waiting to check if your luggage matches with your flight ticket. This makes you not have to worry about someone stealing your luggage. I don't know why, in the Western world, you just go to pick up your luggage and hope someone doesn't decide to steal yours. Story 26. Stop walking and texting. Your awareness is down significantly, you're more vulnerable, and most importantly, you're in my way when I'm trying to walk past you. Story 27. Only share personal information over the phone on a call you placed and dialed. Do not share personal information over the phone with someone who called you. It is very easy to spoof a phone number and make your caller ID think your bank or credit card company is calling you when it is actually a scammer. Story 28. Businesses that let me have access to everything because I have a high visibility vest and a sun-bleached identification card I've had for 7 years. I ask where this is and they help me or ask someone to, with no thought behind it at all. Story 29. People do not understand the amount of information they give out in a single photograph. They think they are being secure, but there is a stunning amount of information they do not even realize can be gleaned. Sure, take a picture of your new car and cover the plate. Safe, right? No, the type of trees, the neighbors' houses, the direction of the shadows, reflections in windows and chrome, all of it can be used to pinpoint your actual location and, therefore, likely your identity too. At least you covered up the plate. I would also say that walking around with your face in your phone is a security threat. Your situational awareness is compromised when your face is in your phone, and you have almost no sense of what is going on around you. Story 30. This is entirely dependent on your threat model. What are you concerned about happening? How likely is that to happen? What would it cost to protect against it? How much of that risk would remain if you spent that money or time? For some people, they may be perfectly fine leaving their house front door unlocked all the time and windows open when they leave the house. For someone else, this would be a horrible idea. Story 31. Keep your doors locked when you're at home. When someone comes to your door, check who it is on your doorbell camera. There is no law that says you have to answer it. Story 32. If you have older kids, set up an Uber family account and let them know they can use it if they need to. As a dad of 3 teenage girls, I'd rather see they grabbed a safe ride home and didn't feel guilty about doing it than the possible alternative. Story 33. Just being in good shape tends to ward off anyone who might want to harm you. If you have visible muscle, they will probably leave you alone, and failing that, you can always run away better if you keep up with your cardiovascular exercise. Story 34. Be willing to lose whatever you have on you. If someone wants it, they're going to take it, so just toss it and run. You're not as good a fighter as you think you might be. Whatever's in your pocket isn't worth your life. Story 35. Making sure our passwords are completely different for every website we use. Wearing complete and proper biker gear every time we get on a motorbike. 2 extremely different topics, I know, but I had a bad experience with both because I thought that nothing bad could ever happen to me. There's always someone else. Story 36. Stop advertising on your car. That sticker of your family members? Traffickers look at those. Sticker for the kid that is in baseball? You're likely away from home for games often. Robbers look at that. Anything other than bumper sticker humor gives bad actors details about you. Story 37. Social distancing. Even if you are not worried about catching a virus, staying 2 to 3 meters from a person gives you more time to react if someone gets violent. Story 38. Making a family password to be used in case of a suspected scam. Discuss it in an electronics-free room in case they are already listening. Just a few years ago, this statement would have seemed insane. What has happened? And don't choose just a phrase you're not likely to use, because that's such a common passphrase idea that they might one day be able to infer it. Artificial intelligence can replicate a voice with ease. It can't read your mind. Story 39. Use different passwords for different online accounts. So many people still do not do it. I recently started doing it and changed all my passwords I had saved and remembered to randomly generated ones, and sure, it is a pain to manually input the password, but it will save you at some point. My example, Uber. My account got hacked because it had the same password as another account that had been compromised on another platform, and they managed to order an Uber. I gladly saw it in time and canceled the ride, but they had changed the phone number. So I had to contact Uber to be able to fix it. And yes, I had 2-factor authentication on. Story 40. Having a firearm, regardless of your views on them or politics, can be crucial on a day where it can save your life or someone else's. There are so many days and cases where I wish the victim had the tool that could have saved their life. Story 41. Using a different password for everything. No, hackers might not be able to crack the database of Secure Incorporated, but they can crack crappy site where you made an account and then try that account name and password across other sites. Story 42. We really should be taking more care with online privacy, like using 2-factor authentication everywhere, keeping our data private, and questioning who is actually looking at our personal information. We are so used to sharing everything, but it is honestly scary how much is out there. Story 43. Having a monitored security system. Most residential security products, like safes, are only designed to delay entry long enough for the average police response time, which is 10 to 15 minutes of resistance. Story 44. The National Security Agency recommends that you perform a full shutdown of your smartphone once a week to prevent spear phishing attacks. I know exactly 0 people who do that, including my friend who works in cybersecurity. Also, nobody changes their passwords, and everyone uses passwords for multiple accounts. But at a minimum, the passwords for your email and bank accounts should all be unique. At least that way, if one of your accounts is compromised, it can't spread to anything vital, or if it's vital already, the damage is mitigated. Story 45. Use better locks on the doors of your home. No lock is unpickable, but spend the extra $50 and get locks that at least take some skill to pick. Nothing that can be raked or bumped. Story 46. Stop reusing passwords and start using a password manager. Enable two-factor authentication wherever available. Don't pick up calls from anyone you don't recognize. Banks, government, and others won't contact you via phone.